is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
Fabian Gerber can't seem to catch himself a break. 3 second places and 2 third places, but no wins on his scorecard this season. It's been Arto Iamaki leading the way with victories in every round but one. And yet those who have been following the series have probably been relishing one of the tightest fights we've ever seen down in the GTO class. Thompson, Arnozzi, and Lake have been trading blows, leaving a giant question mark each round and no safe bets. Today's race at Motegi, though, presents a lesser-used track with cars that haven't often set foot here. Will it mix things up all the more? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 7 of the iRacing Kamel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Sean Crackers Ambrose. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Sean, there's only one word that I can think of to use to describe Motegi: unique. Give our audience an idea why this facility sticks out in the racing world.
Well, it has this thing called twin ring in the name. Well, what does that mean? Well, first, folks, welcome to Motegi, Japan. Well, Twin Ring gets its name for the facility having 2 racetracks, literally 2 racetracks here. They've got this 1.5-mile egg-shaped oval, and of course this 4.8 kilometer 14 turn road course. I did say that, didn't I? 3 miles, actually. You know, they built this way back in '97. Honda Motor Company built it as an effort to kind of bring the IndyCar series to Japan. And someone named Danica Patrick used to drive open wheelers. Actually won a race here at one time. But hey, listen, tricky track here. It's stop, then start, straight, then hairpin style road course, which flows a little bit differently than most similarly sized tracks. Now, there's a little bit of elevation rise towards the hairpin, but all layout is kind of flat here for Japanese standards as racetracks goes. But the best way to get an idea what this place is like, jump on board for another GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Philip Lake in the GSRC Nissan, so let's do a lap around Motegi. Coming down the front stretch, the first 2 quarters are a lot faster than you'd expect. That'll make passes into here a bit tricky. Don't forget, you've got 2 apexes to deal with, and it's going to be very important to get a run off of the second one. That's because there's a lot harder braking into turn 3, so you can expect plenty of overtaking moves to be attempted here. What's really tough about this set of turns is that it's almost a reverse of the first 2. It opens up in the second half, meaning drivers will be easing onto the throttle at round 4. But once again, we find ourselves on another incredibly long straight, and once again, it's ending with some heavy braking. Turn 5 is very much a hairpin, so ambitious drivers will be playing chicken to find out who's the latest of the late breakers. That brings us under the oval and onto the outfield portion of the road course. 6 is easily flat out, but 7 and 8 are tough no matter what car you're in. It's a wide, sweeping, medium-speed chicane where a well-balanced setup is pretty much a requirement if you want to make it through consistently. Eventually, you hit 9, and even though it's a very short run to this hairpin, you often still see surprise attacks happen. Just watch out, because the corner tightens on the exit, so it's easy to swing too wide. After that, come back across the track and then hit the binders for 10. This is as straightforward as they come. It's 180 degrees and flat with one of the longest straights on the track afterwards. Just go for that late apex and aim to get on the power as soon as you're confident. Even though the drafting isn't as big of a deal for the Nissan, being able to get a good run is still important to keep in a good defense or attack. But be ready for the downhill braking that you get coming up to turn 11, which sends many cars off into the gravel. From there, we cross under the oval a second time and return to the infield. 12, 13, and 14 almost act as one quarter, although it's really a kink and a nasty chicane. Be careful, because the last right-hander is the tightest of them, and it's very easy to carry too much speed into it. But hopefully, you've kept it together and have now finished a lap around Motegi.
There you see a lap around Motegi when it's sunny out, but we're doing it during the sunset. Beautiful, beautiful glare off of the track surface here. Let's take a glance and turn our eyes from the beauty over to the points championship, starting with prototypes. up at the top, obviously because of Ardo Iamaki's dominance, is leading the way, but it's only by 14 points. Fabian Gerber has been keeping touch with some pretty decent results. Justin Albrecht is tied in third with Timu Toika now, who jumps himself up one position. Antti Lepisto stays put where he is, and you can see all the way from second to fifth, it's actually relatively close. So expect these GTP drivers to really fight hard up at the top. They also have a GTP Lights Championship. This is an amateur championship effectively here. And Martin Krejcik is up at the top once again. There have been no changes in the positions, but that could definitely be different today. Look at Carlos Fonseca and Bronislav Robanek. Only 1 point separates them for second place. Johnny Bell and Radek Sakura round out our top 5 in the GTP Lights. Let's go over to Sean for the GT standings.
Yes, sir. I get the GTO standings, and it's Phil in and around the lake, who we have learned has had some extreme hardware failure and might be away for a little bit. And that really hurts because he just got up to the top there, and now Riley Thompson, who fell back behind, looks to get that back as he is tied currently with Milan Arnautzis, who has a great season so far. Nick Bucano's 20 points back. Listen, that's not far. He's still in striking distance here. Plenty of races left to go. And then it's Dennis the Anvil Neidhart, X-Batch Racing driver, holding on to fifth there, only 26 points back. Joe, let's go to the light standings. Yes, we like it a little light here, the GTU standings. Adam Lindgren on top, holding on to that strong with 53 points. Matthew Jete coming up to second, only 6 back. Hideki Koivitso holding on. He continues to be consistent enough to stay in the top 3. Michael Haynes, 31 points back. And Sergey Surbin looking over his shoulder, only 2 points back there in 5th. Joe, lots going on in the standings, but we got a few new viewers watching. Why don't you tell them what's going on today?
Absolutely. We are past the halfway point now here in round 7 out of 12 total. They do get 2 drop weeks in points, which will help Phil Lake, obviously. If he does have to miss a couple, we really hope that he comes back because he is in that fight for the championship. 40-minute race today. This is their sprint format. That means that you should not expect any scheduled stops out there. The setups on the car are open, so they can tweak them to their liking. Anything that you could do to the Audi or the Nissan in real life, you can do to them here in the sim. There you see the point scoring, 25 points for win, 20th place gives you 1 point. They have no spare car, though, so if you get any damage, you might actually have to come into the pits and get that repaired, depending on how much it hurts you on your speed. Now, we hope that you've been enjoying today's races here on the iRacing Esports Network. 3 of them already this morning here with GSRC. And if you've been enjoying our coverage, well, why don't you subscribe to IESN? You can catch all the races, and that includes the World Championship Series in each of the disciplines here on iRacing that they cover on IESN. So it's just a big red button that says subscribe. That's all you got to do to make sure that you can get all of the races in your feed. This is Milan Arnautzis. Now, he's sitting in second place right now behind Ove Trangrade, and he's about to finish his second lap. The reason we're watching him, well, because we don't have Lake here today, we also don't have Riley Thompson here today. Arnautzis, who just finished his second lap and doesn't go faster, was really poised to gain a lot of points down the Audis.
You know what? Joni Hogner just took that second spot away from Milan Arnautzis with a hot lap there, Joe. A 148.896 edges out Arnautzis just by a few hundredths of a second.
There's Robert Plumley. All the Nissans have finished their qualifying laps. Oh, and actually, as soon as I say that, I see that Stefan Schlacker is out there trying to get one in. Got about a minute and a half left, so I think you should be able to cross the line in time. Most of our drivers are done. Michael Haynes just completed his qualifying and does go faster in the GTOs, but he stays 14th with a 155.5 out there. I believe, let's see, is Neidhart done? No, Neidhart is actually finishing his qualifying up in the GTOs as well. Diatch driver has been finding speed lately, Sean.
Coming out of victory here. See what kind of a run he's got.
Down
He's
to the
been
line.
consistent all season, Joe.
I've been noticing that. And it's a slow lap for him, so unfortunately the 49.3 is the best he will do. That'll put him in 4th once we get going with the green flag. Schlacher crosses the line. Let's see what this first one does. 9th place. Yeah, absolutely. A 40.1 for the DH driver. The Austrian will not have enough time to complete another one. Johnny Bell is done with both of his laps now. A 42.9 for him puts him down in 16th. 12 seconds left. We have a short pace lap. Let's go through our starting order. On the pole, it's going to be Ardo Iamaki looking to make it 6 out of 7. Justin Albrecht is going to try and challenge him. He'll start on the front row. How about this? Martin Krejcik, 3rd on the grid. There's a reason he's winning the AM Championship. Willy Rolla starts in 4th with Luis Emerton in P5. Linus Technow will be starting in 6th. Fabian Jungbluth in P7 and Stephen Warkup in 8th. Stefan Schlacher, we mentioned he got 9th in qualifying, followed by the Bushfink driver of James King in 10th. Bronislav Robanek starts 11th. Then it's Heitor Sintes Galindo in 12th and Carlos Fonseca in P13. Jason Galvin will be 14th, jumping over from the Lotus 79 to try his hand at the Nissan. Radek Sikora, 15th, and Johnny Bell, 16th. Then it's Polfair starting 17th and Robert Plumley, 18th. But the back rows will include John Keefe, Ryan Lang, and Bob Laurent, who did not get lap times in the Nissan. Sean?
All right, and in the Audis, the mighty Audis, Ove Trengerade on the pole, right next to Joni Hagner. So the Scandinavian and the Finn get to battle it out. A little Nordic battle at the front. Milan Arnozzi with a 3rd place qualifying effort right next to Dennis Neidhart. And in the next row 3, Nick Bucanos will start 5th next to Inho Jean. They're in 6th. 7th, going to go to Franco Scurry. Right alongside Reed Miller, stepping out of his FW31 Toyota. Just a few minutes ago on the Batteries Not Included series, we'll start 8th. Lori Mantivara starting 9th today. Hideki Koivica will round out the first 5 rows. In 10th, Jose Wilcox starting 11th. Cedric Boyle will start 12th. 13th for Brian Shanahan today. Michael Haynes with a 14th place qualifying effort for the Floridian. Jai Wanjiang starts 15th. 16th is Sergei Serbin. And Javier Lago, who's not on the grid yet, still sitting in the pit. That is our 17th place driver starting in the Audis today, Joe.
And you can see the pace car already taking off. Just a few corners that they need to go around, down into 11. They're going to try and split up the 2 fields as quickly as they can as the rest of the Nissans get off the line. And then up into that tricky final chicane. Sun is going down here, so it's a nice cool 83 degrees on the surface of the track. Should offer plenty of grip, and it's only going to get cooler, we expect, with the sun setting. So as the roof pace car peels in, Ardo Iamaki now has control up and around that final corner. He takes off like a shot and leaves Justin Albrecht behind him. Martin Krejcik diving to the outside, looking to find some open spaces. They come down to turn 1. He's trying to outbrake Albrecht, but can't quite carry the speed. A couple too wide through this first set of corners. And I'm not seeing any incidents quite yet through the field, so I think we're clean. Let's go to the Audis.
And Ove and Hagner were already trading paint, coming out of victory down the front straight. But it's Ove that's able to break away here. Milan Arnozzi had a strong charge initially, but he's fallen off into the clutches. Dennis Neidhart now, who's got the run coming down here into the turn.
Still pretty single file there already for the GTOs. GTPs are certainly not looking like that. Now they're actually starting to thin out a little bit, but man, heading down to turn 5, I saw a number of too wide battles in the prototypes, but up at the front of the GTOs, it looks like Trankerade and Hagner in an almighty battle here in the opening laps as Hagner works to try and get around the Scandinavian.
You got to be careful here. Opening lap of the race, Joe. Still trying to get a little heat in these tires. He's got to be careful when he gets right up on that bumper, riding in the wake here of Ove Trengerade.
And I bet you that Arnozzi, who is right behind them, is licking his chops, just hoping it comes to blows again. because if he can get a victory, that'll be max points for him to take over the likes of Lake and Thompson. As of right now, he still sits in third, trying to give chase for our top two. Oh, and it looks like Jason Galvin has had problems with this Nissan early on as he gets the car going once again in the final corner. Let's see, did he have some help or did he lose it on his own? I think he lost it on his own.
Yeah, he did, Joe. Looks like the car just got a little loose under him there. Right in the apex.
Now, we had an incident with James King, and I'm not sure what this one is. Let's see what happens in the replay here. It's coming up on the number 4, and this looks to be through the S's. I know Linus Tech now had some problems as well in this very corner. Is he involved in that potentially? No, he was not. Oh, so that's Tech now in the background that we saw, so I guess that's who we were looking for. Another driver just spun it around all on his own. Do the cool conditions tend to cause that for these Nissans? Are cold tires a problem in the prototype?
Yeah, definitely, Joe. And that's, I honestly think the early stages here, I think that's what we've seen now happening here. Certainly, I think that was the cause for that one. And even with Galvin as well.
Side-by-side battle between James King and Stefan Schlacker. They're coming down to turn 11. This is for 9th place. King on the outside in the Bush Fink car trying to carry his speed. Schlacker just barely stays out of his side, and that means he won't have the momentum off the corner. He finally backs out of it. King settles into 9th, and we got a problem with, is this Johnny Bell? Or does he just have a connection issue? Ardo Iamaki, in the meantime, sets the fastest lap up ahead of Justin Albrecht. And then we got a little bit of a train forming behind the likes of the number 19, Martin Krejcik. Luis Emerton and Vili Ruola have rocked up to the rear spoiler. Down towards turn 5.
Ooh, Joe, we got a pass going on. Sorry. Hogner passing trend grade here. Trying to anyway. Down into turn 1, into the hairpin.
He's got the inside, and he's got the grip off the corner. Finally, he disposes of his triangle. Milan Arnozzi spots an opportunity. He gets his nose to the inside of the Norwegian, down into turn 3. They both get the cars woed up, but who gets it off the corner best? It's going to be a drag race down to 5 that looks like it's going to be won by Trangrade for now. Let's watch the replay since we didn't quite catch the start of that. Hagner down into turn 1. Sean, did he just get a run out of the final chicane?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Joe. You're going to see this on the replay here. He gets a tremendous run.
There it is from on board the Finn.
You know what? I think we might have seen Ove miss a shift there as well.
Just for good measure, and Yoni doesn't need asking twice. He makes his way through. Looks like it's going to be a little bit more hard work, though, for Arnozzi, who's staying right behind them. And these three battling means that the likes of Neidhart is starting to catch up. So we could have a 4-way fight for the lead here in the GTO class. Down towards turn 11 one more time. Look at how close Trangrade is staying. Interrupts his momentum, though, through that right-hander. He's got to back off now as they come back to the start-finish line. We're only 5 minutes into this race. This is a lot of action for so little time. So we ride on board with Arnozzi there. Not going to get an opportunity quite yet. They stretch out as they head their way towards turn 3. This is such a close fight. I'm trying to keep half an eye to see if there's anything worth going to in the Nissans. Right now, it's a lot better to stick here because there's just nothing nearly as close and as exciting as what we've got at the top of the Audis.
Yeah,
and while
you're absolutely right, Joe.
And while train grade has been staying right underneath the gearbox, he just hasn't seemed to have had an opportunity. Through the S's now, up towards turn 9. Sharper hairpin than you'd expect. And once again, train grade finds himself lacking.
Reed Miller been putting a lot of pressure on Hideki Koivitso. I really think it's not if, but when Reed's able to pull off a pass here, Joe.
Oh, and that is the likes of Montevara. Hard hit. How did this happen? Gas it too much off the corner? Yeah. Watch this from on board. The fin. Power down, and it's too much. Oh, Armco with no tires to soften the blow. Spins the fin right around.
And Joe might have actually gotten just a piece of the grass as well. It was high up on the curb there. It was really marginal, but bad break for Montevara. But again, it happens right in front of Miller and Koivitso, and now Miller's got that spot.
Yeah, Montevara, it gets demoted down to 10th because of that error. Up to the GTPs, Justin Albrecht is now a second behind Iamaki. And look at him chase him down the straight, though. Iamaki trying to break the draft, which I wouldn't think would be powerful enough with the Nissans here. Oh, but he goes a little hot into the corner, hands some time back. Ardo Iamaki feeling a bit of pressure. Final corner, both of them trying to get the power down out of these slow turns. They have left Krejcik behind. It is 3.5 seconds down to the Czech. But he's been fending off the likes of Emerton and Rolla quite well so far. Meanwhile, as we take a look at 6th position, this is Jungbluth just ahead of Warcup. Jungbluth finding a little bit of speed lately. Tend to be more down towards the bottom half of the top 10, but right now he is sitting in 6th. Riding on board with Warcup now, looking ahead at the light blue and white car. Oh, very good on the brakes, or is it too deep? Warcup gaining a lot of time. Could present a challenge if he could brake like that and make the apex as he closes on to the back of the number 11. Getting ever closer now. It takes a look to the inside, down into turn 9, but I don't think that one was going to quite work. Even still, he is starting to threaten, and Fabian is probably looking over his shoulder at this point. On to the backstretch now. Jungbluth still holding him at bay, but Warcup getting closer and closer. He stays on the racing line this time into turn 11. Not too far behind. You can see flashes of him. James King, the Bushfink driver, is starting to close in. If they start to fight, it could bring him into the fray.
Yeah, and James just got a good run there out of the chicane. Joe's getting an even better run here down the straight.
So did Warcup. He's on the back of Fabian Jungbluth. Can't do anything with it. And we're already starting to get a little bit of Audi traffic. This is Michael Haynes that they're having to weave around. Checking to see. They've got a ways till more of that traffic up at the top of the field, which is actually getting fairly close. Albrecht, despite dropping off a little bit at the start, has regrouped and is now only 3/10 behind Iamaki. They've got some traffic of their own class. That's Paul Ferrer, who pulls out of the way. And while all this is happening, we've got yet another battle starting to form down in the mid-pack of the GTOs.
Yeah, I think Reed Miller's found another victim here, man. Reed's having a strong race today. Maybe his time spent in that Formula One car has helped him, but Here comes Reed. He's all over the rear bumper of Franco Scurry. And got him set up to make a pass. Taking a peek here.
And can't quite do it. And as that was happening, we had a pass for third place. Martin Krejcik finally had to give it up to Luis Emerton. I think this took place out of turn 10. Oh, you know what? This was helped by the spun car of Paul Ferrer, who was prone across the track. You're going to see them both split the car, and poor Krejcik was to the outside, so he had to go into the grass to avoid him. Take a look at this one more time. You see them heading down to 10, and credit to Emerton. He is close. He's threatening here, but then it was just the fact that he set himself up, Sean, and this car crossing the track was just a perfect opportunity for him.
Certainly was, Joe. Yeah, it was good work there.
And Warcup has just recently gotten by the likes of Jungbluth. This happened into turn 3. Not sure if we want to go back to the replay, but this was for P6. So move Warcup up 1. Looks like we do have a replay on this one.
We certainly do.
Looks like coming off the corner, ooh, just much more solid. And poor Jungbluth was a bit of a sitting duck, and the Canadian ducks to the inside. Textbook pass.
Cue the 007 cam.
Wow. Boy, things have been kicking off here. Mostly in the mid-pack, though. Between drivers finally able to execute. We haven't seen changes up the top of either classes. Still Iamaki leading Albrecht and Hogner leading Trangerade. Although Iamaki has responded to the number 7. Albrecht looks like he's lost almost a second. I wonder if that's due to traffic, which they're getting into right now as we ride on board with Ardo.
Ardo just really on the binders there. That's such a hard braking point.
And it actually forced poor Justin Albrecht to have to make an aggressive move on 2 of the Audis. Sergei Serbin lost out on the apex, and Lori Montevada is taking advantage of it right now. You can see it back behind them. And in fact, Montevada, I think, is maybe going to be able to get the pass done. Not quite. Coming back at him, it looks like Serbin is not going to give up on this one. Finally into the S's of 7 and 8. He has to slot behind. So great action there between those two in the GTO class. And it did not change anything between Iamaki and Albrecht, but Albrecht regained about half a second on our GTP leader.
It's just a traffic jam in there.
A fairly big field we were talking about earlier before the race.
It's 38. If I remember correctly, we had registered. Yeah, 38. Montevara doing a really good job there, letting him get by.
Tell you, a driver who's steadily making his way back through is Jason Galvin. The number 31 car is back up to 15th and currently working on Ryan Lang. And he's only got a couple tenths to try and do it. We've talked a lot about some of these Lotus 79 drivers coming over to the Nissans, but this one's a little bit of a different thing because Jason races in the Lionheart series, which has a fixed setup.
Well, it does, but what they also have is they had their little off-season series, and they've run this Nissan, Joe. They're running it now, so Jason's got some time behind the wheel in this Nissan, and so far he's recovered well from his early trouble.
I guess a learning curve, not too steep for Jason, as he continues to try and hunt the likes of Lang down, getting very close to the rear wing, but not good enough run off of turn 2, and so he's going to have to sit behind him for yet another couple corners. Almost already halfway through this race. And there is our lead pack up in the GTOs. That's Hagner leading the likes of Trangarade, with Arnotzi still clinging to the back of them. They've dropped Dennis Neidhart by a second or two.
Dennis has been consistent. He's just not been fast enough to hang with these three. Joe, they've literally been joined at the hip since the race started. There's only been one change for position, and that's when Ove apparently missed a shift, and Yoni was able to get around. But aside from that, man, they've been well-behaved, but fast, really, really fast. And what I'm worried about is Milan back there. Milan working hard, and got to be careful there. Milan getting run up on there by a couple of Nissans. Milan's driving the car very hard, Joe. I've seen him sideways a couple of times, beating up those tires just a bit. He's still got over 22 minutes to get through here to the end.
And on top of that, look at this. We got the lead pack of the GTPs coming through as well. That's certainly not making life easy for these drivers. Albrecht now finally by. Lets Yoni Hagner continue his race. I can report that Galvin did manage to get by Lang. Oh, well, he did, but now he just gave it right back. Oh, and that's a shame because it took him 4 corners to complete the pass around Lang. Meanwhile, up in the prototype, 6th place, hot little battle with a lot of cars involved in both classes, and that is King getting turned around by the likes of Schlacher. Out of turn 5. Looks like when things got checked up, just got a little too crazy there, and unfortunately hard to tell what everybody's doing in that mess.
Yeah.
Stefan just not expecting the checkup from James, who had to because of the cars ahead. So I wouldn't really put fault on Stefan there.
Yeah, listen, reaction time's everything, and you just had not any time to react there.
So that moves James King, unfortunately, down to 10th, but it does promote Linus Technow, who, remember, had an incident earlier, up to 9th. Schlacher gets jumped up to 8th. And the battle that was ahead of them was still between Jungbluth and Warcup, that kind of was at the front of that little accordion. And did Ryan Lang have a problem, or is he in a battle? I think this is him and Plumley side by side right now down into turn 11. This is for 13th position, and I think Plumley's got it. Plumley in the red and yellow car promotes himself.
Well, Lang was back there spinning his tires off the turn, Joe. I was watching the right rear just spin and spin and spin. He was trying to just keep the car under him, and that allows Plumley to get by and take that spot.
We've had to switch around to all these battles. We haven't gotten to watch that Hagner is starting to pull away from Trangarade, who's pulling away from Arnotzi. And behind them, Neidhart was in a bit of a fight for 4th with Mukanos, but it looks like Mukanos has fallen off of him.
Joe Scurry just had problems getting out of the way as John Keefe was coming by. And that got him out of the battle, dropped Scurry several positions. He's now back to 9th.
Oof, yeah, the number 22 certainly suffered from that. He just gave a little too much room down into turn 3, went into the kitty litter, and unfortunately, Montevara and Koivisto managed to get by them. Just hit the halfway point now. Let's give you a quick rundown of the top 5 of each class because we've had so much action going on. Ardo Iamaki is currently still leading after starting on the pole, but he's had to work hard for it. Justin Albrecht, who has been keeping it honest, has been closer than what he is now. It's 1.6 seconds back, so he could yet still climb behind him. Luis Emerton finds himself in 3rd place. Luis has been challenging for wins in the past, so don't put it past him potentially to get up there today. He's 6 seconds behind. Martin Krejcik, despite starting from 3rd, has actually shown that that was not a fluke. He's still holding on to 4th place, only dropped 1 position. Vili Rolla is the next one to challenge him. He rounds out our top 5 in the GTPs, less than a second back from the number 19. Let's go to the GTO. Sean?
Yes, sir. Yoni Hagner still in command since making that pass early on Ove Trangarade, who's still holding on to 2nd. Milan Arnotzi is still holding on to third. So, oh, we got problem with tech now.
He's stuck under the bridge. And this was him trying to make a pass on some lap traffic in the Audis. The DH driver, let's see, he's just gun it too hard. Yep, oh, there's a turbo lag. And I
goosed it.
Doesn't look like he hit anything from this onboard, but he was stuck trying to get the car turned around.
Yeah.
So that moves him back down to 12th. Another error from Linus certainly puts him at a disadvantage. Let's jump back to 4th in the GTPs, though, because Ruola is putting all kinds of pressure on Krejcik now. We could see an attempt down into turn 1. He ducks his nose in, but Krejcik takes it deep, way too deep. He's off the course. That's another position lost for the green and white car. That's a shame after what has been a very good race run by the number 19. So, as we go back to 9th in the GTOs, yeah, Scurry's more battles.
Still having fun here, Joe. Him and Iniho John.
Another local potentially, maybe, that has hopped in.
Possibly, yes.
Club Asia, yeah.
Galvin coming through here with Robanek.
Could this be an opportunity for Inho? He's got a look to the inside, and he's got the momentum off the corner. He's on the back of Franco Scurry. Down to the inside of turn 3. Scurry is a little bit later on the brakes, though, but he's also too late. It's a repeat of what we saw with Krejcik. And he has to give the position up to June.
I think he might have even caught a little bit of a slowdown penalty there, too, Joe. Might have got a little bit too far over the curb. Tough break for Franco.
Scurry now down to 10th in that GTO class, unfortunately. Schlocker's gotten another spot recently. This time, it is Stephen Warkup. So the number 13 manages to gain yet one more. Where did this one happen? Looks like it was out of the S's into turn 9. Wow, brave on the brakes for the Austrian. And cuts it awful close, does Warkup. Warkup seems to be going a little bit backwards. Where did he qualify? Well, he qualified in 8th, which is where he's in now. So I guess he must have gained a few positions, and slowly the water level has gone back to where it was before. So 15 minutes left now on the clock. Unfortunately, our battle for the lead has not come back together in the GTPs. Iamaki has been retaining that 1.5 second gap. And much the same in our GTO battle for the lead. Ove Trengrade 2 seconds behind Joni Hagner. Joni is such a difficult driver to try and challenge, it seems like. Once he gets a little bit of a lead, it's just curtains for everybody else.
Yeah, and honestly, Joe, the traffic hasn't helped. It's been tricky for these guys. The stop-start nature of this track, it's been tough, especially on Ove Trengrade. Milan Arnozzi had such great pace when he didn't have to worry about the Nissans coming through. Has fallen off considerably now, almost 2 seconds back from Ove Trengrade. So battle really spread out up front there. You really got to go back to, I think, Koivisto right now. Oh, here, Nick Buchanan with a problem.
What happened here? Let's see, is this in the S's? No, it's out of turn 9. Oh, and very similar to what we saw before.
Yeah, and honestly, Joe, I looked at it from above, and it again looks like he gets just enough over the curb right here. It catches the car, and he does a good job of staying. Oh, and he clips it there at the end. I don't think it really caused any damage, but nice save to avoid real carnage.
So both Montivara and Lucanos now falling victim to turn 9. That isn't one that I usually pick as a danger zone around this track, but it seems to have caused problems for the GTO cars. Mukanos now running in 5th position, but a whole 13 seconds behind Dennis Neidhart. Up in the prototypes, battle for 6th place, Stefan Schlacker, who has been on a climb, we have to say, is now on the back of Fabian Ljungblad. Schlacker started this thing in 9th place, looking to be up 3 spots if he can slip by this blue and white car. Riding on board with Ljungblad now, looking back at the Austrian. This is our closest fight at the moment in the GTP class. Coming up to finish yet another lap through that difficult chicane. Slow corner, meaning that turbo lag and ever-present danger, but both drivers nice and smooth to the power. Yet another couple tenths, couple hundredths as Schlacker closes in bit by bit. Down towards turn 3. Didn't quite get as good of a run that time as he did off the chicane. When he's a little deep down into turn 3, the car slides up, and that's going to lose him all the time that he just gained.
Well, you know what? We've lost sight of a little bit of what's going on up front, and that's Ardo Yamaki still kind of running away with it up there. Albrecht not able to get any kind of run at him, although his last lap was faster. It's really, really small gains for Albrecht at the moment, Joe.
Well, the good news for Albrecht is they've got some traffic up ahead, including some of them battling. Montivara currently overtaking Javier Lago. That is going to be... Oh, actually, that's not for position, it looks like. That was a lapped car, so excuse me. But regardless, point stands that Iamaki now going to have to deal with a bunch of slower class cars. He gets the first of them up to turn 3. Are any of them going to swing in favor of Albrecht? Not this time, absolutely not. Franco Scurry just in a bad place for the Buckeye, and poor Justin Albrecht loses a heap of time.
Yeah, he obviously didn't need that. Again, I just finished saying that the gains were small, and well, when you lose that, then you got to get back on your horse. You got to go back to work again, I guess.
Well, and he's losing time to try and do something. Only 10 minutes left. I think his best hope right now is this traffic, because Iamaki, though not flawless this season, has proven to found an extra bit of speed, it seems like, that few drivers have been able to touch.
And Joe, this is a nice reversal for a change. Usually what we see is that the Nissans really spread out, and we lose those battles towards the end. We've got them today. It's the GTOs where things have kind of spread out a bit, and everybody kind of running their own little race against time right now. Ardo held up there, Joe.
And held up big time again in the chicane, and Justin Albrecht knows it. He gains all that time back. It is now down to 0.2 of a second. Traffic giveth and traffic taketh. And as they come through turn 1, he gets right under the rear wing. Hideki Koivisto is the next one in line for these two. But is it going to hold up Iamaki yet another time? He breaks deep into turn 3, and Justin tries to follow him through. Koivisto tries to stay out of the way. Dutifully does so.
He does, but it came at a cost for Hideki. It's got Montivara in his mirror now.
Right on board with Albrecht. Watching them come through turn 6 and now into 7. They're not done with this traffic. Michael Haynes is up next. He might be in a bad spot for Albrecht here. Just stays out of the way in time. Yeah, he said it's a reversal of fortunes. It's a reversal even to the start of the race as well, we should point out. Remember, the top 3 in the GTOs were just stacked on top of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, they were until fairly recently, honestly, Joe. Maybe, what, in the last 15 minutes, I guess that kind of fell apart. But they were hooked up for quite a while during this race.
I think Iamaki is starting to sweat it a little bit. We saw him try to break the draft yet again, ducking all the way to the inside of the support pit wall, down the backstretch there. And Albrecht is just staying right in his tire tracks at every corner and every straightaway, even as he does it again. It's looking more like Indianapolis here. Drivers trying their best to bob and weave just to try and take away that little advantage for Albrecht of catching up with the dirty air. Up next for them, Nicholas Mukanos in his Audi sits in the way. He holds off to the left. Iamaki gets him, and Albrecht barely sneaks through in time. And in all this, watching many battles throughout, we failed to catch the fact that Linus Tech now has made up for the multiple mistakes that we've seen on camera to get up into the top 10.
So in a solid race with only 7 minutes to go. I don't know, maybe about 4.5 laps here left, Joe. Both of these battles at the front of the Nissan field going to be exciting to watch right to the finish. Yeah, Montevara is getting caught right now by Inho John, who's honestly had a really solid race aside from one mistake that cost Inho a couple of spots. Inho has had a solid drive. Joe, I'm not familiar with the name. Don't recall seeing him, but Lori Montevara is in trouble here as Inho has found the pace.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that he's a newcomer to the broadcast, at least. Not sure if he's been driving this car. This is not a bad showing for the first time here in the Strength of Field race that we have every Saturday, with a top 10 and maybe more on the cards.
Yeah,
Montevara.
I'm sorry, look at Koivito is now falling clutches to them here, Joe.
Yeah, that's a good point. They are gaining on the Finn, but they've got to do something quick. We're now down to less than 6 minutes to go. And we don't need to go to it, but I just want to point out P3 and the GTPs could be up for grabs. Roll and Emerton are getting awful close to each other. Oh, and big slide there from Inho. He catches the car, but loses a lot of time into turn 3.
Yeah, you know what I'm hearing? This is Inho's first race. In fact, getting that confirmation from the chat, Joe.
Wow. Well, that makes it all the more impressive. Maybe a little bit of local knowledge of Motegi helping him out. But he's going to have to really hustle if he wants to try and make another attack on Montevara before the checkered flag falls. This is that battle I was mentioning between Emerton and Rolla. Less than half a second between them now. Whoa! And lap traffic's not going to help the situation. Luis Emerton gets into the side of Yang and lets the likes of Rolla through with that one chance.
We're going to go on board a Ville here.
Kind of don't blame Emerton for trying to send it in. He didn't want to be held up, but it was awful late.
Well, I'm not sure what Zhang was thinking there. It looked like Zhang was given the room and then turned.
So now Rolla up to 3rd place. And Schlacker gets another one. He finally got by Fabian Jungbluth. This was a long time coming. And it looks like Jungbluth made an error into turn 11. That was the corner we just saw with the contact. Let's take a look at the replay. Oh, a real basic error. This is Schlacher in the red and black machine. That's Jungbluth in the blue and white. Just plain old outbreaks himself.
I think we need a grandstand right there where that gravel trap's at.
Oh,
That'd
absolutely.
be a heck of a place to sit there, Joe.
I think there's some hillsides that you can watch the action there. And the lead is closed in yet again. Justin Albrecht now half a second behind the number 3 of Iamaki. If Iamaki wins this one, the stats are not going to tell the tale. It's going to look like 6 out of 7 wins in another romp, but that is not the case. Albrecht making him sweat. Riding on board with Justin now. Looking up at the rear wing of the Finn. I believe it's going to be white flag next time by. This might be really close for that.
It's actually going to be right on it, Joe. I think maybe we might get one extra lap.
As the sun continues to go down, the track temperature continues to drop. Wonder if maybe the grip going a little bit in favor of Justin Albrecht. Maybe the setup nicer and cooler conditions for Justin.
Actually, Joe,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Ardo looks to, I think it's going to be the white flag when they hit the line.
And you may notice there is nobody close behind them. Vili Ruola has dropped a whole 13 seconds. It is down to these two for the win. Once again, weaving down to the inside, Iamaki looking for anything to get himself away from Justin Albrecht. They've got lap traffic up ahead. This is Cedric Poyle. Lifts a little bit, tries to stay out of the way. It's going to compromise Justin Albrecht slightly, and white flag is indeed out. One more lap to go, and Ruola loses third place. What happened here? This was his own error. It gets paid right back to Luis Emerton, and not just Luis, but Martin Krajcik manages to get by.
Wow. That's just a mistake by Ruola there, Joe.
Turbo lag again.
Yeah.
We saw it there on the replay. Oh, he's got to be kicking himself. He had a podium on the cards. So back up to the front we go. Justin Albrecht still giving chase, but some wheel spin coming out of turn 5 is not going to help the situation. The corners are ticking away, and Justin is losing opportunities. About 3 more heavy braking zones to go. First one right here up into turn 9, not close enough there. Then they've got turn 10. A little bit of traffic a ways up the road that could come into play here. Oh, off the corner, Justin trying so hard, but yet again, just can't find the grip. That extends the gap even more, now up to 8 tenths. Ardo Iamaki managing to withstand things is a little wide coming down to turn 10. I don't think it's going to be enough to compromise. What about this lap traffic? That's Serbin. He tries to stay out of the way. It slows him up slightly, but he's smooth onto the power. Ardo Iamaki survives it all, and he takes another win here in the GTP class.
And right behind him, Joe, Joni Ogner getting out of the 90-degree corner here at turn 11. Coming into victory now. One last time for Joni Ogner. Great start. A very competitive one. Had to make one pass. A little flick there on the exit of the turn, and Joni Ogner's going to get the win. Ove Trengrade going to come home with a solid second-place finish. And Milarno Nazi going to take the top 3 of the podium.
And in the prototypes, got a little bit of a battle for 8th place. This is Warcup and King. This is going to require Warcup to just get smoothly onto the power, and I think he's got it, so give Stephen Warcup P8.
All right, in one last battle here, Coy Vito trying to hold off Lori Montevaro, who's had kind of an up and down race. Been chasing here for a while. Just don't think there's enough left. Lori Montevaro is going to run out of time. Hideki Coy Vito going to get a P7 finish today.
And that's going to be the last of the cars trickling across the line on the lead lap. It'll take us to a little break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll show you all the upcoming races. But after that, make sure and stick around because we'll have the official results as well as driver interviews. Welcome back to Twin Ring Motegi. We just watched round 7 in the iRacing Kamel GT series. And I said it during the race, and I'll repeat it again. The stats don't tell the story. Ardo Iamaki's 6th win out of 7 races. He had to be pushed the whole way for this one. It was half a second at the line, and Justin Albrecht looked like he could do it at points, but it was not to be. 2nd place for the number 7 car. Luis Emerton manages to find himself with another podium. It's been a while since we've seen Luis pull that off, but, well, he did it race after race for a while. Martin Krejcik with, I would say, one of his best finishes we've seen with the 4th place. Billy Rolla gave away that podium, finishing in 5th. Then it's Stefan Schlacker climbing from 9th up to P6. What a brilliant effort by the Austrian. Fabian Jungbluth settles for 7th with Stephen Warkup in 8th. Then James King, who did not have a flawless race, but still finished in 9th, is followed by Linus Technow, another driver who had his own fair bit of errors, taking top 10. John Keefe goes from 19th to 11th. He didn't get a qualifying time in, but what a climb. Heitor Sintez Galindo finishes 12th with Robert Plumley, also gaining a lot of spots, going from 18th to 13th. Ryan Lang as well from 20th to 14th, and then that's Bronislav Robanek finishing P15. Jason Galvin has some work to do in this car. He takes 16th place with Bob Loran finishing 17th and Carlos Fonseca 18th, and we won't see him on there, but Paul Ferrer finishes in 19th in the GTP class. Let's go to Sean.
All right, and well, in the GTOs, it's Yoni drifting to the finish. Hagner with the big win. Ove Trengerade, the second place run for him in the middle of the podium. And rounding out our top 3, it's going to be Milan Arnozzi with a great run today in the number 14. Finishing 4th, a solid run for the Anvil today. Dennis Neidhart, the number 9, bringing her home 4th. Nick Bucanos, P5 today in the number 8. Reed Miller hopping out of the F1 car and into the Audi. He finishes 6th. Hideki Koivitso holds off Lori Montivara to win the 7th place finish, and 8th for Lori. Inho Jean will finish 9th. Franco Scurry, a top 10 run for Franco. Didn't come without trouble, unfortunately, for Franco. Not a perfect race, but he'll take that top 10. Jose Wilcox. Wait, we didn't even get to talk about Jose a whole lot. Jose, 11th. Good run. Cedric Poyle, 12th today. Jai Wan Zhang in his first race here today. That's 13th place. Javier Lago, 14th. 15th for Michael Haynes. And Brian Shanahan, 16th. Not the perfect day for Brian. Radek Sikora will finish in his Nissan 20th in class, 36 overall. Sergey Servin, 17th in the GTOs. And Johnny Bell only got 7 laps in a day. Joe will finish 21st in the Nissans and 38th overall in this race today.
And that brings us to the interviews. We've got our winner in the GTO class, Yoni Hagner, ready to talk to us. Yoni, you've got a track with a lot of long straights leading to a lot of heavy braking zones. And it looked like Ove Trangrade and Milan Arnozzi were trying to use it to their best advantage. How do you deal with a track like that where you know there's lots of chances for them to attack?
Yeah. There are a bit of mistakes and usually quite fast. It's good answer for that question.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like it was a tight fight at the start. And then suddenly it seemed like the traffic helped you. Is that what you'd attribute to the gap that you managed to get over Ove, or would you say it's more raw pace?
A bit of both, but I actually lost in the traffic few times because I have still the internet issue with my download. So others are blinking for my screen. It's pretty difficult sometimes.
This track doesn't show up often on many schedules here on iRacing. So what do you think is the most difficult part for you in the Audi to try to get around this circuit?
I think the back straight braking is the most difficult because it's downhill and very camber in the corner. So the car is really loose and you can outbrake yourself really easily.
Yeah, I hear that one. I know I've done that plenty of times myself here. Well, congratulations on taking a win here today. Will we see you back next week at Bathurst?
Yeah, maybe. Probably.
All right, simple answer. That's a very Finnish response there. Joni Hagner taking the win here in the GTO class. Let's go to Sean, who is talking to one of our climbers over in the GTP, Stefan Schlacher.
Stefan Schlacher getting out of the Audi GTO, leaving us Audi drivers in the win, and now in the Nissan. And Stefan, that's quite a run today. P6, you pretty happy with that?
Man, I did not expect that whatsoever. So starting 9th, that was already quite a surprise, but then climbing up to 6th, just wow.
Yeah, just wow, indeed. Talk about the traffic, because really seemed to slow down the Audis just a bit today. It really left you guys with some great battles.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting some packs to break up anyways, and then keeping up with the 3 guys ahead. I was struggling a little bit early on, but then the tires started to really kick in, and I was starting to get the better wear on my tires than the other guys around me, especially with not spinning my tires. And as you said, the Audis, they really slowed us up. Had a few scary moments there, going 4 wide accidentally because I didn't brake enough. Stuff like that. Obviously, I also had, sadly, a bit of a shunt there with James spinning him around because of an Audi that I didn't see on his outside. But Motegi is always tricky with the multi-class, so I'm really happy that the guys around me were struggling a little bit with that, because it really gave me an advantage today.
Yeah, and in that incident you just talked about, I mean, I said it, reaction time's everything. You really had no time to react there, did you?
No, the thing was, with me in the VR, I also looked to the apex and didn't see that car there. It was like 3/10 or something like that on my screen, so I really didn't see it, sadly. I tried my best to avoid him, but sadly still happened to drive into him.
Did you enjoy your iRacing experience today, Stefan?
I so much thoroughly enjoyed it. It's just incredible.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot, buddy. Congratulations. A good day on track, and we'll see you in the booth tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. And quick shout out to Riley. You didn't win the day because you're at Daytona.
That's right. Riley Thompson at the Rolex 24 today. Thanks, Stefan. And Joe, I think, we'll try and keep the interview with Jason Galvin to, let's see, what, under 3 minutes?
Oh.
Under 4? Where are we going with that, Joe? Timer's going. Go.
I'm driving a dirt street stock right now, so you may get a quick one out of me.
Oh, there we go. Okay, well, I wanted to ask you, since you have been running this car in the Lionheart Winter Series, that is fixed. This is open. Was that a bit of a jump for you, or did it feel pretty easy making that switch?
Yeah. So funny thing about that, Joe, I have a new baby. A lot of people know that, and so I've actually yet to start one of those Lionheart races, even though I've practiced for them. So I told Sean after the batteries not included broadcast this morning, I said I think I'm going to go run Kamel because we just ran the same track. And then I had a baby issue. And so I literally went and picked up a setup from the forums, jumped in, and my first lap was qualifying. So I basically learned the entire race, but that was a lot of fun. Those guys are fun to race with.
That honestly explains a few of the mistakes that we caught out there.
Yeah.
Does this mean you think you might come back and have a little bit more fun then?
I'd like to. I love this car. I love the series. I had a lot of fun racing with Ryan there. I don't know if you guys got any of that, but I'd like to. It's pretty cool when you have a series like this that everybody's so willing to help and share setups in the forums and stuff. So if there's anybody out there watching this and they've thought about jumping in and haven't, I think I'm proof. Maybe I'm not a good road racer and I just had a lot of fun. So I think I would encourage everybody to jump on in. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I second that sentiment. Glad that you're finding it so welcoming out there and that you bring that up. Well, commiserations that it didn't go any better, but we look forward to seeing more like you out here.
Thanks, Joe. I think that went excellent. We got out of there without getting to double figures and instant points. And most importantly, I didn't screw up anybody else's race, which is what I was most worried about when all the Audis caught me there. I was like, oh, please don't ruin their race. So a lot of fun.
That was Jason Galvin, who wound up coming home 16th out there. And I do believe I'm going to take Sean's glove away because he was throwing some softball questions at Stefan there in that interview. But we're going to close up, and a big thank you goes out not only to the Kamel GT community for bringing us back for coverage, but also to iRacing for putting us on the iRacing Esports Network for this season. Definitely want to encourage you to subscribe yet again to them because of, just all the great action, not just this series, but all the World Championship series that you can catch here on IESN. Thanks goes out to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast. You can see them listed on your screen. Additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Nick, Amjad, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including, Sean, Amjad, and Dougie. I did this last week. Why did I not update that? If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page as well for GSRC and hit our big red subscribe button so that you don't miss a moment. Next race, we're going to Bathurst. Boy, that will be a challenge. That'll be Saturday, February 2nd at noon Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.